Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I got something to say. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say the quiet part out loud. I am tired, and if this does not pertain to you or your shop, then just scan by this part. Don't even listen to it. But hey, you got into this business. I'm tired of hearing, oh, well, I'm already losing $20 on this, or I'm losing $10 on this, or well, I'm losing this. Hey, you got into the business. This is what you wanted to do. This is your business. This is your shop, okay? And I'm tired of shops just closing their door. To me, shops closing their doors right now and not even being open, not accepting phone calls, is the same thing. Imagine if Robinhood, if Webull, if E-Trade, if the Comex, whoever you buy, sell, and trade from online, these paper contracts, imagine if they just took away the buy button. They took away the sell button. They took everything away. They just shut it down. People would be in fits. But when it comes to your local shop, oh, they can just shut the door whenever. They can decide to turn off the buy button whenever they feel like, and we're supposed to feel bad for them. I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for you. I don't. You didn't hedge yourself properly, and that's not our problem. Don't blame the stackers, and don't put all of that onto the stackers, the people who are trying to hedge against inflation, the people who are trying to invest into their portfolio via precious metals, physical precious metals, people who are trying to use it to save for houses, save for their kids, do whatever they're trying to do. Don't put it on them, okay? If you have such a problem with it, then raise your price, raise your premium. If you bought it for $105 and you're too scared to lose $20 on it, put a $20 premium on it. And if people come in and they don't like the price, guess what? They don't have to buy it, but there are still going to be people who buy it. No matter what premium you have, you're going to make a sale. So if that's your issue, then put a premium on top of what you're selling and live with it. And tell people, just like whenever the prices were high, when they were in the 90s and the hundreds, and whenever someone would come in to sell and you're saying, oh, well, we're buying $10, $15, $20 back a spot right now because the refineries aren't buying this and I have to protect myself against this. And whenever that was going on, you had every single excuse in the world to tell us, the sellers, the people who have been stacking for years, some months, most years, that, oh, well, I have to buy way back a spot because of XYZ. But now that spot has gone down and we're seeing a downward trajectory, which we're about to get into this, guys, because I don't think we're going to be down too much longer. But now that we're seeing this downward trajectory, oh, now it's let's shut the doors. Oh, we're not selling today. Oh, well, there's every excuse in the book, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of calling a shop, and whenever I just simply ask, what's your premium on Silver Eagles? What's your premium on a generic round? What's your premium on XYZ? I'm tired of hearing, oh, well, it's going to be, 10 over, but, I'm getting raked in right now, or I'm losing money on that. So, I'm $18 over and I'm still losing money. Like, it's those little sly remarks that we don't need right now, because anybody with 2 cents can look at a computer, can look at their phone, can look at the Kitco spot price. They can look at a couple charts and see that silver is down nearly $40 from one of its highs, $44, right? It hit 121. We're at 77.91 right now. It went down to 65. So in theory, they were down almost $40. Okay, then tell someone that. Say, hey, right now, our silver spot is $75. We did buy this at around 105, 110. So we do currently have a $30 premium because we want to stay in business. If that's not okay, I totally understand. There's multiple local coin shops. There are other places in the area, but this is where we're at, unfortunately, at the moment. But hey, I would love to earn your business, so come by and let's talk about it. Like, don't just shut your doors and start whining about the prices now that they're down. That's not good business. Educate people, because sometimes people just don't understand, and if people were to understand, they would pay that premium, or they might, instead of buying 10 ounces from you, they might just buy 1 or 2 because they want to support you. They want to support your local business. But for all those gold and silver shops, or these jewelry shops that are mainly jewelry, and they just have one little case to the far right, because they wanted to get into the precious metals games because it was going up like crazy, and now that it went down, they're freaking out. And whenever you try to go buy an ounce of silver, they give you this whole spiel about how, oh, well, we're losing on this, we're losing $20 if you buy an ounce today. Like, just want to let you know, that's why our premium's $10. Okay, then make your premium $30 and hush. Okay, I'm not in it. Whenever the price was $100 and you had a $10, like, your premium wasn't that much different. Your premium was like $3-4, and now that it's $30 down, your premium is $10. That's not much difference. I'm not gonna lie to you. It really isn't. Okay, so don't give me your excuses. Go ahead and sit there and tell me face to face or on the phone, hey, this is our premium, this is what we're in it at. If that doesn't work for you, I totally understand, but I would love to find a way to earn your business, but this is where we're at right now. Go about it in a business way. Like I said, if this doesn't pertain to you, it doesn't pertain to you, because not every coin shop is doing that, right? There are some that I call around, and I visited a couple, but mainly I call a lot of coin shops around the Fort Worth, Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. I travel for work, so I call around. I like to go to multiple places and shop deals, because that's where I think, as a stacker, that's what I learned, is to shop the deals and get the deal where you can get the deal. But hey, if you're not that person, then just disregard this whole message, because there are shops that I call and they're $20, $25 over spot, and I understand it. I actually respect them more for having the ability to say that they're that much over spot versus give me a 5-minute spiel about why they're this much over and they're losing money on it, and they may have to shut the doors, or just going to a local coin shop, like being in a small town or a bigger city and seeing it on the maps, and it says open on your maps, but whenever you go to the shop, closed for the day. For what? Just raise your prices. Stop being scared. You got into this business. Don't get into this business if you can't take the downturn. Don't get into this business if you can't level up when you need it the most. That's what I have to say about that, guys. Sorry, I just kind of went on a little rant. We're going to go on our technical analysis for today. So right now, spot silver is around $77, $78. As we head over to our 1 hour chart, which is what I'm on right now, we can see we had a clear breakthrough from this little pennant that I drew right here. This little line. We broke through it. I had said earlier, or yesterday's video, that I would like to stay in this channel, but if we broke through this, our next support wasn't going to be until, let me see, we go back over here. Yeah, our next support line wasn't until around like the $68 range, and then below that, our strongest support was around $56. But, ladies and gentlemen, we did reject this pretty heavily. These are the 1 hour candles, so we did have an hour beneath it, but the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15-ish hours out of the 20-ish hours, we rejected it and we stayed above it. We're about 15 hours green, which is a strong signal that we did totally reject this little space right here. We are not going to be hitting that, is what it looks like. And it would have been a little bit more bearish if we would have hit this line right here, because as you can see, this was the top, and then we hit this top again. That's when the crash was. Then we kind of had this little fake out right here. We hit this line, and then we started going down, tested it again, got rejected, and we had that big free fall all the way down to 73, 74. From that $89 range, about a $14 drop, and we didn't test it. We stayed inside this channel, and so we came down through here through the 63s last night, and we tested it again right here at the $76 range. And so far, guys, it looks like we are oh man, not me do that, sorry about that. It looks like we are kind of going through it right now. We're still staying in this channel, and so I would like to see us continue this and maybe hit right here, kind of come down a little bit and stay in this channel just a little bit longer. That would be nice, because again, we want that slow, steady growth up, and that's what it's going to be about, guys. That slow, steady growth. Does look like we kind of have an inverted head and shoulders forming right here, right? This is a shoulder right here, the head. If we come down here, we could have another shoulder, and that could project us all the way up. Let's see where we at, to the 80s. I think that could get us back up to the 80s, but I mean, that wouldn't be till probably mid next week, end of next week maybe, if anything. But these are the trend lines that I'm looking at currently. It is nice to see this rejection, because we did reject it right here on Sunday, February 1st, at that opening that night. we did kind of come back up here, and so rejecting it again, and then also, like, okay, so whenever we rejected, all these times we reject, right, guys, it's been a mix of up and down, these big pushes, these big pullbacks. But what I really like about this setup right here is, one, obviously, that we broke through this macro trend line right here, but it's a lot of little growth, right? It's a lot of little growth, not as much volume down here. Just a lot of steady growth. Nothing like a crazy, we rejected 60 and we went to, $80. Right? Like, that would be just too much, guys. We want that slow, steady growth up. And so that's kind of what I'm looking for right now. And then third thing I want to go over with you guys is something I've been teeter-tottering with, is what's a better purchase right now. I want to know y'all's opinion. Is it going to be 90% constitutional or junk silver? Some call it constitutional, some call it junk. Constitutional is a long word, and if you say it over and over, it kind of gets annoying, you're not going to lie. So that's why it's called junk. But 90% dimes, quarters, halves, Morgan and Peace dollars still have their premiums right now, so I'm not really worried about those. But dimes, quarters, and halves. Dimes usually carry the most premium. Halves usually carry the least amount of premium. But what's going to be a better buy? That or the vintage silver? And I'm going to break down why. So as mentioned, I do go to local coin shops and, these jewelry shops that sell gold and silver, and these gold and silver shops. All right, there's a difference in them. Your gold and silver shops are going to have a mix of jewelry, maybe a couple rings, but they're mainly going to have like jewelry that's gold and silver. And they're going to be a lot more of a scrap buyer type thing. And they're going to have some coins, maybe mostly rounds. They're not going to be heavy into that. And then you have these jewelry shops who have just kind of hopped in the market here recently. And so out of 10 cases in their store, they might have one case off to the side that has some silver and gold coins, rounds, bars in it. And then you have your actual LCS, your coin shops, where they have your slab stuff, your graded stuff, and then they're going to have your coins, rounds, but they're mainly going to be a coin shop and not too much on the jewelry side. So there's 3 different things that I've kind of learned whenever I'm researching and calling around. Usually I kind of have found some of these gold and silver shops have the best pricing, just because, if we're being honest, they pay people the least. Coin shops usually pay people the most. When it comes to us stackers selling, coin shops are usually paying the most. Jewelry shops are a hit or miss. Just kind of depends on where they're at and where they're at with the market. But yeah, that's kind of what I've found so far. But I do think right now that yes, 90% is looking really good, because they are below spot in most places and they're not making any more of it. So keep that in mind. But vintage silver, if you can find a shop and you can find those with a low premium above spot. So if they're selling, I'll give you an example. Today I picked up, again, going around different shops, calling around, I found one, and I kind of got lucky. I call it luck, but if I had not put in the research and the time and energy to call around different places and work different deals and get rejected 10 times asking, if I could pay this price, then I would have never found this. I would have just gone with the first person that I called. But I found a very, very, very key date, American Silver Eagle, 1996. I found a tube of 16 of them. I was a little salty they didn't have all 20, but it is what it is. You can't get too greedy. But when I walked in, they had the best deal. They were a 6 over spot. And that's the best I found so far for American Eagles over in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But they were $6 over spot, and I'm searching and I'm like, they're all the same price. I'm like, okay. And I see this tube, and it's original tube. They had like a paper tape to it. You can tell it's the original owner. He or she, they marked it up. They had a piece of paper taped to it. Had 1996. Had the original buy price. Had everything on there. And I open it up, And I'm like, these are 1996, because in my head I know what I'm looking for, right? But this is a jewelry shop that just has a little bit of silver off here in the corner, so they have no idea what they're looking at. To them, the 1996 and 2023s, 2024s are the exact same thing, right? But to the person who knows what they're looking for, that are definitely not the same thing. The 1996s are the lowest minted American Silver Eagles ever. I think they only minted like 3.8 million of them, like a very, very, very small amount. And that was in 96. Almost 30. No, that is oh my gosh, we are in 2026, guys. Wow, time flies. But anyway, 30 years ago. Okay, so no telling how many are actually still out there in circulation. But it is the lowest minted one, and so they do typically carry the highest premium to the right buyer, to the person who knows what they're looking for, and they know what they're looking at, and they know what they're selling. It carries a very high premium. If we go on to here, I'll go on right now. We'll go on to SD Bullion, and let's go ahead and refresh this. We're going to type in 1996. So right now, Silver Eagles on SD Bullion are $94.54, right? So keep that in mind, $94.54. So let's just call it $94 on the low side, or $95. And we'll type in 1996 Silver Eagles. The cheapest one, $158. Guys, this is why you have to know what you're looking for. $158 compared to a random year, $95. That is what, $50 premium, $60 premium? That's nearly a $60 premium right there. And had these people understood what they were looking at and what they had, they would have probably charged more for it, right? And that's cool. And these were brilliant. Like, these are like, they almost, there's one in there that might be a coal. Like, it's a little bit toned, you know, it doesn't look the best, but the other ones are BU. Like, they have sat in that tube forever. The person didn't take them out and fiddle with them and, you know, throw them in with the other ones. As a matter of fact, they had a 1987 in there as well, but I wasn't interested in that. I just wanted the 1996s. Again, I'm searching for the deals, but this has me going back to my original point that I was talking about, is that what's a better deal right now? Vintage silver or 90%? Because yes, 90% you can find under spot in most places. You know, it might be $1 or $2 under spot, but it's still under spot. Whereas vintage silver, you're still paying, you know, depending on what it is, you know, we're talking Inglehearts, anything like that, you know, these key dates when it comes to Silver Eagles, you know, you're still paying, you know, that $5 to $7 premium, $10 premium, $15 premium. But right now, a lot of these dealers, and again, the dealers who know what they're talking about and know what they have, they're not going to sell you some of this stuff at regular pricing. They're going to have their extra premium on it, and that's respect to them, because they should. But for the dealers who don't really understand what they have, and to them it's just silver, you know, silver, you know, like the people who don't understand what they have in front of them, I truly think this vintage silver is a better buy because it carries more of a premium. Now, obviously, you know, I can't just go anywhere and sell these. I can't just go anywhere and sell these 1996 Silver Eagles, right? It's going to take some time. It's going to take the right buyer. And I may just want to hold on to them, right? I found some 1995s the other day. I posted at I think it was Tuesday that I found them. And by that night, I had a buyer. I paid $92 each for those 1995s times 20. I don't know the math right now. I'm not a mathematician. One of you guys figure that out. That same night, I listed them on eBay and I listed them on Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp. By that night, I had an offer for $110 per eagle. $18 per eagle times 20. Again, I don't know the specific, you know, math for that right now. I may have been able to get a little bit more had I held on to it, but in my head, silver had just gone down a little bit from there. So I was able to turn that into an arbitrage and get more premium out of it from a buyer who is collecting. He's actually collecting all the years. He already has the 80s. He has most of the 90s. With that one, I think now he only needs like 98, 99, and 2000. And then he'll be on the 2000s. And so, guys, if you know anyone that has 1998, 1999, 2000, original tube, it's very important. That's the original tube. And it's all 20. All right, I was a little upset that these were only 16 of them. I would have got 20. It wasn't even a money thing. They just didn't have them. I was like, you sure you don't have 4 more? There should be 20 in here. And I was like, no. I was like, let me look. I'm looking around all their coins. They just didn't have it. But if you know anyone, let me know. Drop a comment. Because I'm interested. I have a buyer. Shoot, I might be a buyer. I'm interested in stuff like that. But going back to my point, is that there's a lot of vintage silver out there that isn't going to get created. A lot of these companies aren't around, but they carry that premium. But right now, people are just looking to sell because they're in such a panic mode that they're just trying to sell what they have so they can get some of their money back in case the price continues to drop. And so that begs the question, let me know what you think, 90% or vintage silver? Or I'm not talking your generic Buffalo round, right, from 2007. No, I mean key dates, key pieces, companies that aren't out anymore. Like, would you rather get Engelhart with a 00 serial number or a 0 serial number, like a low serial numbered Engelhart for the same price you can get a Buffalo, right? Or would you rather have 90% silver that's under spot? I think that's a good question. Depending on how you're stacking, it obviously depends on what point in your stacking journey you're on as well. I want to know what you guys are thinking about that. I personally think right now, vintage silver is the way to go. I do. But hey, next week, guys, leave you with this. There was some news out of China, but I'm not really paying attention to that, guys. People are always going to short the market. People are always going to go long on the market. We got some guy, David Bateman, he has billions of silver. This guy shorted hundreds of millions of silver. So you do the math on that one. However it works out in your brain, whatever helps you sleep. Markets are going to be manipulated, but at the end of the day, markets are markets, and they do what they want. They do what they want. When the pressure's there, when the buying pressure's there, they do what they want, how they want, when they want, however they want. Like, there's nothing you can really do. There's nothing one person or one institution can really do forever. They can hold it down, as long as they want. Not as long as they want, but they can hold it down for a while. But at some point, it's going to come up. It's like a balloon or a ball. I forgot there's someone on YouTube that says this. So sorry, I'm taking your line, but it's so true. It's like holding a beach ball underneath water. You can hold it down there as long as you want, but at some point, it's going to come up. And when it comes up, it shoots up. So that's the way I see that whole manipulation argument. You can't do it forever. But what I'm looking for next week is I want to see another test of this $82. I would like for it to be, around Wednesday. It would be nice if we could kind of follow this down a little bit and maybe test right here. Let me draw a line. Draw a short-term line. Yeah, I would say this is a good bottom. Right here. I would say this is about good right here. I'd like to see if we could come back and test this maybe once or twice. If we can test this, we should have some upwards trajectory. And then we're going to be testing that $81, $82 mark again. And if we can get to the upside of it and test that, test the bottom side of this, I think we'll have a clear trajectory that, we're going to be going back up to around $94 from there. It may take next week. It may take 2 weeks. So don't expect it on Monday or Sunday night, by any stretch of the imagination. But I would say that's my next week's targets. So we're going to follow up with that. But guys, as always, stack smart, stay safe out there, and I'll see you guys on Monday.